Well, hello. This video was requested by our friends and followers. We're quite excited about it because it's our first how-to video here on YouTube. We will talk about detoxing our home. We'll share our strategies, how we improve air quality in our home, how we keep toxins at bay in our food and cooking and kitchen in general. And we'll also share some dark secrets that our furniture can hide. We'll tell you all about our wool mattress. And as a bonus, you'll see Steve's delicious recipe for very tasty scrambled eggs. If you like this video, make sure you indicate that, leave a comment below and subscribe. Let's get to it. Steve and I had been hearing bad things about non-stick for a long time, and for the longest time we wanted to replace our collection of pans and pots with something more professional, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to spend several €100 or even over 1,000 to fully replace all of them. What really forced the issue though was this movie, Dark Waters. It tells you a horrible but true story about a town in the States, West Virginia to be more precise, where they produce Teflon. And that production facility was poisoning people and cattle. If you haven't watched this movie, I highly recommend it. It really puts things in perspective and teaches you to be skeptical about the products that you see advertised everywhere. So we did some more digging and we realized that there are two main problems with non-stick pans and pots. Firstly, if the layer, the non-stick layer, becomes damaged, it starts leaking chemicals into the food. Secondly, it does so at an even higher rate if you heat it above a certain temperature. Now, the recommended temperature, according to Teflon itself, is no more than 260 degrees centigrade or 500 degrees Fahrenheit. But on high heat, the temperature can very well go above that, and that's a problem.
The absolute best option is to cook in glass or clay in the oven, which most of us do anyway, but the real problem is frying pans. Here, the safest solutions that work with the widest number of hobs seem to be cast iron and stainless steel. Cast iron's a bit tricky to care for. For example, they say you're not supposed to let it air dry, and you need to season it properly with oil before storing, plus they're pretty heavy. So we opted for stainless steel and went for this brand, Made In. Look at them, beautiful. This video isn't sponsored though. We genuinely like these pans. They're sturdy, thick on the bottom, but not too heavy. They're stylish and they don't have any plastic parts. So if your oven's large enough, you can put them right in there and bake something in the pan. They have a lightweight aluminium core. There are 5 layers of metal. Can't see it. But the cool thing is it runs all the way up the sides, which is a differentiator from cheaper pans. And it means that the food cooks better and more evenly. Stainless steel does leach nickel and chromium, but according to studies, this only happens during the first couple of times you cook. The amounts are insignificant and even people with acute nickel allergy seem to be unaffected by it. So we've got some eggs on the go here, and you can see, if you come in close, that we have a little layer forming. It does stick. Doesn't look too bad at the moment, but towards the end there will be a look like here. You can see the sides of the pan, and this, even if you keep on stirring it, you still get a sticky layer. We think it's a small price to pay for not having the risk of Teflon leaching, but yeah, it is a bit frustrating. My only tip is with eggs are the worst. The rest, it's not really a big deal. But with eggs, just soak it straight after. Let it cool for a few minutes and then get soapy water in and come back to it half an hour later with a steel brush, and it should be fine.
Yeah, that's the beautiful part. You can use a steel brush on this pan and you don't ruin it. So I find this highly practical. Because even with a non-stick coating, sometimes you do get something on the surface and there's no way to gently remove it. Here, this pan really doesn't care whether you're using, it looks really nice, whether you're using a steel brush or not. If you're wondering, in these eggs, we've got salt and pepper and some garlic. Right in the mixture, we do put some oil before we start frying.
Butter.
Butter. Yeah, for omelette I put olive oil. For scrambled eggs, Steve uses butter. And I wanted to say that I also had my concerns about frying pancakes. There, the solution is just to really heat up the pan very well, and then they don't really stick. You just need to be patient. That's it.
Or you need to be a person from a pancake country.
That's true.
Really.
That's true. I do know how to bake pancakes, I think. Maybe we should make a video about that.
There we go. Just leave it here to soak. We've been soaking for 20 minutes or so.
Maybe 30.
Maybe 30. Shall we see what we have? Usually it doesn't come off just with this. You see it doesn't have much of an effect. Here's the caked on layer.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that well. If you do this, it comes off easy enough. With a spoon or something it comes off. You can make some progress. It's not super caked on. You just like, give me a spoon.
I usually use a spatula.
Mm-hmm. So it comes off easy enough. At this point, put a bit of water in and get the steel brush to work. Already looking a lot better. But obviously it's more work than a Teflon pan. There's no doubt about it. And if you eat eggs all the time, then I guess you have to think about whether it's worth the hassle. But for us it definitely was. We eat eggs. We don't eat them every day for sure. Maybe once a week, twice a week, something like that. For me, the extra 5-10 minutes it takes to do this isn't a big deal. There we go. All done.
That was very fast, actually. I filmed the whole process. Very nice.
If you soak it, you still have to scrub, but it's faster. Either a green scrubbing pad or a wire brush. It's not a big deal, in my opinion.
Nice.
Made in Italy as well.
Yeah.
It's an American brand, but they've got production in the US and in Italy. This is a 3.5 quart saucier, so good for anything with a sauce. It's got the high sides. And the other one that we have is I think 4 quart. Sorry. This is a 4 quart saucepan.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really good. Obviously for soups you need something bigger. We just haven't got around to making the investment yet. They do cost a little bit.
While we're in the kitchen, there's one more thing we need to talk about, and that's food. Another way we try to keep toxins away from our home is by buying as much as possible at the organic shop. But they rarely have everything we need, and it can be just way too expensive to buy everything organic. So the tools that we try to use to help us decide what to buy organic and what not to buy organic are the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 lists. It's very easy to Google them when you have to decide what to buy organic when you are at the shop. The thing is that some fruit and veg contain more residual pesticides than others. And there are some like strawberries, peaches, grapes, bell peppers, and spinach, which are almost always on the Dirty Dozen list. However, avocados, sweet corn, sweet potatoes, and pineapple, for example, they're usually on the Clean 15 list. That's because the skin is very thick, and you usually remove it before eating. So that's your rule of thumb. The sweeter the fruit and the thinner the skin, the more residual pesticides there are probably in this produce, and then it's worth it buying organic. The thicker the skin, avocados, pineapple, sweet potato, again, the safer it is to consume even non-organic produce. In case you're wondering, this is of course an organic apple. Another way we limit toxins in our food is by never ever microwaving anything in plastic. Food-grade plastic is quite stable at room temperature and even when freezing, but reheating in plastic is a big no in our house. The problem is similar to the one with non-stick coating. If a container gets scratched, then the product, the material that it's made from, comes into contact with food, which isn't supposed to happen. So we always take the extra step and transfer our food into glass or ceramic for microwaving.
Another major source of toxins and particles at home is the humble cooker. To be more specific, the combination of cooker and extractor fan. The house where we lived before moving here had a gas cooker and, bizarrely, no extractor fan. Instead, there was a window above the cooker that we had to open every time we used it. Whenever we cooked in that house, our air quality monitor would just go crazy. It'd show this black icon with a gas mask, and I had to go to the cupboard, put the gas in. Gas cookers can produce carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen dioxide. Here's the graph with the health risks of cooking with gas. It seems to affect kids especially. And of course we should have extractor fans, but the problem with them is that many of them don't actually pull the air out of your space, but they simply filter it. That's fine, but they often use these flimsy filters and nobody replaces them. Ever since we moved into this rental house, where there's proper ventilation from the extractor fan and in the room, and an induction hob, the air quality monitor's calmed down a lot. It still flashes red from time to time if we're making something smoky like stir fry, or if we accidentally burn something, which doesn't really happen if I'm honest, but it does seem to be generally happy and more chill about this cooker. As a side note, while induction may be a bigger investment, though not by much, it's much more energy efficient and super fast. It heats water up to boiling within a couple of minutes. So you don't only cook faster, but you also save on electricity. It also doesn't burn plastic handles if your pots have those, and it's pet safe. Not that they should be jumping up there, but sometimes they do. I'm sure many of you are curious about this air quality monitor we keep on mentioning. It's one of our key tools to keep our indoors air high quality. And as we mentioned before, we've been moving around a lot and have lived in various places. In some, air quality during rush hour deteriorates significantly, and the air quality monitor helped us stay on top of that and shut the windows at the worst moments during the day. Especially in the Chamonix Valley, which has a really big problem with pollution, and it's difficult for the pollution to escape once it's stuck there up between the mountains. It also taught us to air indoor spaces regularly. We both work from home, and if you're co-working in a small space, it's surprising how quickly CO2 levels spike. Whenever we glance at the screen and it's yellow or red, we open the windows and we let some fresh air in. This monitor was kind of expensive as it measures smoke and fine dust, PM 2.5 particles, carbon dioxide, temperature, and relative humidity. But you can get some much cheaper if you're only interested in CO2 levels, for example. So if you take a look, here we have the air quality in our house and the air quality in the nearest town to us. And if I skip a screen, I'll be able to see CO2 level in my office. So you can tell that we should open the windows. We've been talking a lot and filling the place with CO2. It also has temperature and relative humidity on the sides. Oh, and this is the weather forecast, which is kind of cool as well. It shows you the weather. And this one, where it shows us the office and the place where we live, it also has an hour by hour. You can usually see that when you cook, it spikes sometimes, depending on what you're cooking. Unfortunately, one thing this air quality monitor doesn't measure is VOCs. That's volatile organic compounds. The sources of them are plentiful. Paints, varnishes, cleaning products, fire retardants found in couches, carpets and beds, air fresheners, and burning wood, to list just a few. Breathing in low levels of VOCs for long periods of time may increase your risk of health problems, especially if you've got asthma or if there are young children in the house. The thing that bothers us is that while on their own these chemicals have generally been studied and presumably their levels in the products we buy aren't that high, otherwise we wouldn't be here probably, we don't know the effect of the particular mix of chemicals and how they may interact with one another. So the fewer of those in the house, the better. Here are some of the ways in which we reduce them in our own home.
Let's talk cleaning products. I know that many of you have questions about these, and that's usually the most discussed topic in the eco community. I'll tell you what I use. And this is pretty much everything I use for cleaning the surfaces, washing clothes, mopping the floors. I'll start with my 3 rules. So rule number 1, as you can see, the fewer products, the better. Rule number 2, if not vinegar and bicarbonate of soda, then something with an eco label. And I'll talk about those in a second. I usually buy products with eco labels from trusted eco shops. In our case, it's usually Biocoop. I don't know if you can see the label. I've talked about them in one of my previous videos, or another eco shop that we currently using. And rule number 3, no strong smells. That's pretty important for me. So since we're in the kitchen, let's start with the products I use in the kitchen. And like I said, vinegar, it's diluted 1-to-1 with water, I believe. Roughly, it's not very precise. And bicarbonate of soda, if you're not worried about scratching the surface, you can use this to remove any stains. It works wonders. Or if you know you don't want to scratch the surface, then you can sprinkle some soda and then just spray vinegar. It doesn't have to be diluted. It can be over the stain and just leave it like that for a couple of minutes, and usually it works. For washing the dishes, we're using this. You can't really see anything anymore because we buy this in bulk. And that's another rule, actually. We try to buy as much as possible in bulk from these eco shops. And this one is actually certified by EcoCert. You can see here. It's one of the most common eco labels in Europe. And I'll put a list of eco labels here on screen so you can see them. These are for Europe, but you should definitely look into the subject for your region. Why are they reliable? Because they're certified by independent bodies. So when companies draw a leaf on a bottle, it's not enough. They might do their own research, but usually it's just marketing. It's called greenwashing. Whereas products that have these reliable labels, they have been certified by independent bodies, which means that these bodies look at how the product was produced, what effect it has on people when it's used, and what effect it has on the environment when it's disposed of. So when I buy something with a label like this, I know I can trust it. I don't have to worry too much about the effect it has on me. Coincidentally, these products usually don't have a very strong smell. It's usually something supernatural like bamboo or lavender, and it disappears within a couple of minutes. This way I know it's not affecting me, and it's not really affecting the environment, which is important. Moving on to the rest of the house and the bathroom, I do get tired of the smell of vinegar every now and then, so I do like to use this product. It's a general cleaner for all sorts of surfaces, and it has the same label, EcoCert. I usually use it for surfaces in the bathroom or like this island. If I want a room to smell nice, that's what I use. Again, very gentle smell, disappears within a couple of minutes, and I never get a sore throat or anything. I don't feel like coughing ever when I'm using this. For the toilet, we also have a product from an eco shop, and again, it's certified by the same EcoCert. It also says it's vegan, I think. Yeah. And made in France. Lovely smell. I really like it. That's what we use. Now for the rest of the house. At the moment, I mop the floors with this product, which I got from Leclerc, which is a big supermarket around here. Accidentally, this is the only product that doesn't have any eco labels, apart from this one. See, it says A+. And that's why I got it, actually. It was the only one with this sort of label. A+ means that it doesn't really affect air quality in your home in a bad way, which means it doesn't have many VOCs or any. So that's why I got it. It does have a very strong smell, so I definitely will replace it with something else, something that I will most likely buy in bulk from our eco shop. And the 2 products I have here are for washing clothes. I don't use anything else. This was bought in bulk. This is a very cool French company. It's called Jean Bouteille, John the Bottle. The idea is that wherever you buy such a bottle, you can return it if you've used it up. But I prefer to fill it up again and again and again. And you can see here, eco shops are obliged to put the sticker that shows what's inside. And you can see once again, it's certified by EcoCert. I really like the smell. I can't transfer it through the camera, but it's very light. It's lavender, I think. And once the linen is washed, it never smells of anything. Remember I mentioned my rule number 3, no strong smells. This is particularly important for everything that's bad linen. And we even run into a small problem whenever we're visiting Steve's parents. His mom these days has to wash the linen before we arrive with some products that work for babies, because I just can't stand the strong smell of commercial detergent. As someone who lived in the Alps, I can assure you the things that are advertised as alpine smell have nothing to do with alpine smell. If you do have access to the outdoors, make sure you dry out your clothes, your linen outside, because that's what gives the fabric this nice smell of the Alps, not the commercial products. And for whites, and whenever something is stained, I use this product. It's called oxygen bleach. That's how it's known. That's how you might know it. Upon dissolution in water, sodium percarbonate liberates a blend of oxygen, water, and soda crystals. This property renders sodium percarbonate highly effective for laundry purposes. It excels at delicately eliminating stains from both white and colored garments, which is important, and serves as a natural whitening agent for white or light clothing. What's important, it achieves all of these benefits without releasing any harmful chemicals into the waterways. Let me know in the comments below if you have more products, if you think this might be enough for you or not.
Another major source of VOCs in our homes is furniture. Fun fact, in the mid-20th century, when it was common to smoke indoors, tobacco companies advocated for the use of flame-retardant chemicals in household items like furniture and textiles, because smouldering cigarette butts would often ignite the objects around the smoker, carpets, curtains, couches, things like that. So one terrible habit that some people had increased the risk for everyone, as nowadays health and environmental experts agree on how harmful some of these fire retardants actually are. Brominated flame retardants, or BFRs, have been linked to endocrine disruption and thyroid dysfunction. Older compounds have been replaced by new versions that also show toxic endocrine effects. HBCD is associated with alterations in immune and reproductive systems, neurotoxic effects, and endocrine disruption. Organophosphate flame retardants, or OPFRs, are widely used as replacements for other types of flame retardants. They could pose a risk to bone and brain health. So, flame retardants migrate out of furniture and into dust, which we unknowingly, people and pets, ingest. That's why children are considered to be more affected than adults. So, when we moved into this new rental house, which wasn't furnished, of course, we wanted to try and get VOC-free furniture. The two key items were the couch and the bed, which is over there. From what I could find online, while some BFRs are banned or restricted in the European Union, fire retardants are still omnipresent, especially in furniture that contains foam, like this. I started looking for a chemical-free couch, and I found this absolute beauty, which would fit perfectly with the style of the house that we're renovating. There was just one tiny problem: the price. We then thought that since we spend more time in bed every day than on the couch, even though we do like our evening movie watching routine, then maybe it would make more sense to invest in a chemical-free bed. I found this website, Le Matelas Vert. Again, not sponsored, we're just sharing our experience. They sell different types of mattresses, but we fell for the one filled with wool. Together with the bed made of untreated wood, it came in at €2,500. The mattress has all sorts of reliable eco-labels, such as OEKO for textiles and EcoCert that you can see on all sorts of products. It's also handmade in France using wool that comes from sustainably and humanely run farms. The mattress itself is amazing. It's relatively firm and it provides great support.
There you go. Nice. And that's pretty much it. We really hope that you liked this video. If you have any questions or would like to share your habits, please leave a comment below. If you know a friend who might benefit from these tips and could find this video useful, make sure you share it with them. And we'll see you in our next video. Bye bye!